Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your favorite Euro News podcast, where today's topic is the MFF budget. Earlier this week, the European Commission released its long-awaited proposal for the Multi-Annual Financial Framework 2028, the EU's 7-year budget plan. Worth close to €2 trillion, the MFF is more than just figures on a balance sheet. It sets the Union's priorities, showing us not only how much money will be spent, but on what. This time, the proposal lands in a particularly heated context. The Commission is trying to balance an enormous pressure: strengthening Europe's defense capacities, maintaining support for Ukraine, and financing the green transition. All three demand resources on a scale the EU has rarely had to consider at once, and this is already creating tensions across the continent and within the member states. On one side, more financially conservative countries such as Germany and the Netherlands are signaling caution, wary of stretching EU finances too far. France sits somewhat in between, pushing for a strong climate and industrial policy while mindful of fiscal limits. Meanwhile, countries such as Poland argue for significantly more investment, seeing it as an economic and security imperative. These diverging interests set the stage for what promises to be a difficult yet interesting negotiation. Next Wednesday, the Council will gather to begin its debate, and if past negotiations are an indication of what awaits, talks could drag on for days, just as they did during the last MFF. Now, it is important to note that while the budget was released in June, it will be discussed and amended over the next 2 years. In short, this is a gradual process in which the general proposal will undergo revisions before final agreement is reached. Furthermore, the framework must be approved by unanimous decision in the Council, ultimately highlighting just how difficult and complex this task is expected to be. Now, we'll hear from the Commission itself. They'll present their vision for the MFF 2028 and perhaps, even more importantly, set the tone as mediator in what could become a fierce debate among member states.
Europe has entered a new phase of its existence. Our Union is confronted with more and more geopolitical risks, economic uncertainties, and the accelerating effects of climate change. These challenges demand a strong, ambitious, and unified European response. The Union must therefore be ready to ensure its security, reinforce its economic competitiveness, and advance decisively in the green transition. These priorities must be addressed collectively as they are all interdependent. A more secure and resilient Europe requires clean, affordable energy, and a competitive economy requires innovation in green technologies, while long-term economic stability requires the security of all member states and regions. In order to achieve these objectives, the European Commission has adopted its proposal for the Multi-Annual Financial Framework covering the years 2028 to 2034, which will be the financial backbone of the Union strategy. The budget we'll present is defined with 4 guiding qualities: ambition, flexibility, strategic focus, and simplicity. On the whole, the Commission proposes a budget of nearly €2 trillion, representing 1.26% of the Union's GDP. Moreover, to avoid unnecessary overlaps of funding and improve the overall efficiency of the budget, it will be streamlined into fewer programs. In addition to this, we propose to complement member state contributions with new funding sources at the EU level, creating a budget less dependent on national efforts and better equipped to deal with large-scale common issues. On Wednesday, the 21st of September, the Commission will oversee the first debate of this budget at the European Council. In this initial session, member states will focus on one crucial dimension of the proposal: financing Europe's green transition. The Commission will invite member states to deliberate on 3 central elements. First, the proposal to increase climate and environment spending from 30% in the current framework to 35% in the new one. This will represent close to €700 billion spread over 5 major funding programs. Second, as part of our simplification efforts, the Commission proposing merging the Common Agricultural Policy and the Cohesion Fund into a single instrument, the National and Regional Partnership Plans. This consolidated program will serve as the main channel for financing the green transition across all territories of the unions. Finally, the Commission puts forward the Catalyst Europe Shared Loan Scheme. This initiative would create a genuine EU-level financing capacity, raising €150 billion through joint borrowing on financial markets at a discounted rate. This will enable investments in energy infrastructures and in new technology that will drive our green transition. We urge member states to support these proposals, as only through common ambition and shared responsibility will the Union succeed in achieving its objective of carbon neutrality by 2050.
Now, after having heard from the Commission on what to expect from this first meeting, we now redirect our attention to Luca, our analyst here at Euronews, who will reveal to us what has not been said by the Commission and what potential underlying tensions can we expect between the member states on Wednesday. Luca, the floor is yours.
This Wednesday, we expect to have some heated debate in the Council. As the Commission spokesperson said just now, there will be three main topics that will be discussed and that we expect to divide the member states. Concretely, when we look at what is at stake for this new MFF and the bold propositions made by the Commission, we predict the 27 group to be polarized in three groupings when it comes to addressing the main headings, and that includes the green transition one. So, on one side, there will be the famous frugal states, spearheaded by Germany and the Netherlands, which are known to be more fiscally conservative. These are the states who are firmly against further spending and budget increases, but might agree that whatever the budget agreed is, 35% of it should go to climate action. On the other hand, they tended to lean in favor of bundling the Cohesion Fund and the CAP together under the National and Regional Partnerships Plan, the NRRP, as it could liberate funds and allow pushing climate action higher on the agenda. However, they do not agree with joint borrowing through the Catalyst initiative as a potential funding source, seeing it too risky and also unfair. Opposing the frugal states, you have the southern and eastern countries, out of which Poland seems to emerge as quote-unquote ambassador. These countries tend to disagree with frugal states on most topics, including budgets and the green transition. Overall, they advocate for significant budget increases, though not primarily for climate action, as they believe that priorities should lie elsewhere, notably in security, given Russia's latest actions on the eastern flank. However, they will not support the National and Regional Partnerships Plan, mainly because it implies funding cuts for both the Cohesion Fund and the CAP, but also because of the stricter rule of law conditionality attached to it, which this group of countries see as a national sovereignty issue. Nevertheless, when it comes to the Catalyst initiative, they seem to be a bit more open, as they prefer it significantly more compared to newer sources, such as the plastic levy. Lastly, there is also France, who is somewhere in the middle on these issues. While it is a staunch supporter of allocating more of the budget towards climate issues, as well as of the NRRP, which aligns it with the frugal states, it is also a big proponent of increasing general spending and issuing joint EU debt through the Catalyst initiative, which puts it more on the southern and eastern states side. It is expected then for France to oscillate between the sides during negotiations.
As we can see, the Commission's proposal for the 2028-2034 MFF budget has set the stage for intense negotiations. With nearly €2 trillion at stake, and with climate and environmental spending at the core, the Union faces a test of both its unity and ambition. Now, as we wrap up this episode of the Euronews podcast, we would like to leave you, our audience, with 3 guiding questions you can think of to structure your debates. Number 1, should the EU increase climate spending to 35% of the budget, even if it means raising overall contributions from member states? Number 2, Could there be more room for compromise on new resources other than the Catalyst initiative, such as the e-waste levy or the CBAM? Number 3, can EU shared resources compensate for member states' budget tightening? Thank you very much for listening. Until next time.